One thing that I think about a lot these days is, on the one hand, I feel so grateful that I had a chance to go through that challenge and that personal growth. At the same time, I'm thinking our life on this planet is very limited. Is there a
Yeah.
way for people to go through this amazing journey, but without getting unnecessarily stuck in the wrong places? So this is my question for you, because you've seen and studied so deeply so many
Okay.
stories. Where do you think people get stuck most often, and why?
And I'm going to refer, I think it's the refusal of the call.
Mm-hmm.
They just refused to go on a journey that they're being invited on. Secondly, thank you. I hadn't thought about it in these terms. What I've been aware of lately, of what gets them stuck, is using the mental models, mindsets, attitudes, and resources that got them here. They try, building a company requires certain attitudes, mindsets, et cetera, expertise, et cetera. Facing the blank sheet of paper is a totally different task. And so you get this, what I'm going to call negative transfer of learning.
Mm-hmm.
They try and apply that expertise, those mindsets, to a completely different task.
Over time, I realized that an exit is actually the true opportunity of a lifetime, because this is the opportunity to make this huge leap in your development, but also in spiritual development and any kind of development, and build the life we truly want. So we finally have all the resources. We just need to have a direction, and we need to give ourselves a permission to do that and to appreciate the opportunity, because I almost squandered that opportunity with that first business. If I stayed in there, which would require some discipline, if I stayed in there, or if I brought investors in or hired someone, I basically would have missed the opportunity to grow tremendously and be where I am today, which is a much happier place than it was before or immediately after my exit.
You raise an important issue that I also ran into. There are people who are like you, know it's time to go, but they can't.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they have some instinctive sense that there's a blank sheet of paper that they're going to have to face. Let me give you a quick story. In the interviews I did, I was sitting on Cape Cod with this gentleman in his third home or whatever. And we were talking, and I said, so what's it like to be successful? He said, kind of quietly, he said, well, I always wanted to be a business mogul, and now I am one. And I went, wow, that must be fantastic. And he got very quiet. And he looked out on the water and he said, I'm like one of those sharks out there. And I said, really? Oh, I get it. You're the apex predator. And he said, no, I have to keep swimming or I'll die. It's what I call done but not finished.
From my own experience, like you, when I exited my first business 13 years ago, there were no organizations to support us. And what happened to me personally is that I actually didn't even connect my problems with the exit. I did not have the connection in my head that I started blaming myself. I started blaming my spouse, my friends, everybody else around me for how I felt. But most importantly, myself. I felt something was terribly wrong with me, because I should feel very differently. And I ended up in years of kind of self-sabotage, actually, just because I thought something was wrong with me. So for me, doing what I'm doing now and also seeing all these organizations supporting the community is just so invigorating and gives me hope for not just them, but also the society at large.
It's a really powerful, the paradoxes. Gain comes with loss.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the first choice, I think, is how do we think about it?
Well, I didn't have any structure at the time, so it took me quite a while of going through mistakes and trial and error. And now when I look back, I realize that lots of my decisions were just ways to escape that blank sheet of paper and ways to escape the pain that I and confusion. For example, I jumped into another business very soon after my exit just because running a business actually was my comfort zone. But I didn't see it like that
Mm-hmm.
at the time. At the time, I told myself that, oh, I have this entrepreneurial itch, that's who I am. I need to be doing that. It actually took me a couple of years to hit another wall when I realized I'm actually no longer motivated to build a startup. And I couldn't rationalize it fully because I was very lucky with that second company in the sense that I could see the early traction and I could see the product market fit and everything I knew about startups. I could tick the boxes to say, yes, we should go ahead. And at the same time, deep in my heart, I had to admit that I had no desire of building this thing. And this is when I started thinking, oh my God, something's so wrong with me. What's going on? Of course, now,
Yeah.
many years later, I realized that it was perfectly normal for me to no longer have the motivation I had before. I had no motivation for more accomplishment, for more money, for more success. All I wanted was to actually focus on my little kids and figure out who I am and what I actually really do. But I felt very guilty about it. I felt that I was failing as an entrepreneur because I didn't want to work, but I wanted to spend time with my kids. And that's very sad. It shouldn't be happening. People should have better guidance in these situations.
Yeah, and that's why I think, what you're doing, what I try to contribute, has such a subtle value to it in terms of the legitimating function, the legitimating aspect.